Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third part of the course. And well, as you see here, we have another model we created. And basically, it's just so you see the difference, that you can create any kind of fish. In this case, we made a fish, and this course is based in animating these kind of animals. But you'll see that you can use it in case of snakes or worms, or well, we can use these cores with any animals with cylindric shape and a zigzag movement. As you see, we have another model here. In this case, it's not cartoon style like the one we've done in this course, but a model based in a real fish. And as you can see, the process is the same. In our case, we started with a sphere from scratch, but in this case, I used a reference image in the background, and clicking on floor, I activated the viewers so I could model while I was seeing the fish in the background. You know how it works. You click on draw, and here in left right, or depending on the view you're on, we activate one of the maps. Click here, and then click on import. And we select, for example, this image that I have here, which is the one I used to do this model. Click on open, and we automatically get the image here, enabling the floor option. Now we can start modeling. We create a sphere, we activate Dynamesh, and just start modeling using the background image as a reference. So the procedure is exactly as we saw in the course, but using an image to create the model. You can try different styles besides the cartoon style, because a realistic one would look great too. Then, as you know, in order to get the UV maps out, we need the model to be in different levels of subdivision, because if it's not, it simply doesn't work. To paint this model, I used another kind of technique that I taught in another course, which is painting through a picture in order to get this level of detail. Then when we have the model in different levels of subdivision, we can just get the UV maps out. As I showed you earlier, cutting the model the easy way, which is painting red the model to protect the parts we don't want a seam on, and painting blue the parts we want the seams to be on. This way we can get the texture. In this case, this is the texture I got out of the real fish model. I did a cut on this zone and basically on the fins, see? This other one is the one for the cartoon style fish. Well, here are both of them. As I said earlier, ZBrush is not the best program to do this kind of thing, but for what we're going to do afterwards is more than enough. We don't have to complicate things anymore. Once we have this map and the normal map, which we already saw how to export it, we can take the model to Cinema 4D thanks to the plugin that I told you about that brings us the opportunity to export the model to Cinema 4D with the normal map and color map, both in their places. The displacement map, we can click here and import it, but I don't have it for this model, and we're not going to use it on the other one either, because having the normal map is enough, okay? All right. Okay, so let's take this fish too, and I'm going to set the position. And as I said, if you want, you can put some time into doing a good modeling, something you really like, so you can work on it later and get a great video out of this course. So I'm going to save this document and we'll move on. Okay, before we start rigging the characters, I just want to let you know that the plugin we use in order to export models to Cinema 4D from ZBrush is actually included in ZBrush. And this plugin here, GeoZ, actually has been coming installed by default with ZBrush for several versions now. Pixelogic's website, in the plugins section, is specified that all these plugins you see here are already installed by default in ZBrush. But anyway, you can always export the OBJ file using this button here to export any model. Okay? So let's get back to Cinema 4D and start putting the bones on our fish, okay? I'm going to go to display for a moment and I'm going to click this option here so we don't see the mesh. And of course, I'm going to give you this model too so you can work with it too. Just click File, Open, and open this model. This way we can work with two different styles of character. Alright, we're going to start now. We have this model here under a subdivision surface, but it's hidden for now, and we can do the same with the other one. We can get it into another subdivision surface, but for now we'll disable it, okay? Alright, in order to rig the model Cinema 4D works like this. Click on character and there's all the tools we need in order to get the bones in place in our model. All of these are for animating and rigging characters. In order to initiate ourselves in the 3D animation world, and we'll use the option Join Tool to put the bones into it. Click on it. And now we go to side view, like this one, for example, and we'll start with this model here. Now, holding Control, we create the skeleton inside our character. All right? Since we're working with these animals, it's quite easy to do this because it's just a spine, and that's why I chose this animal. So, as you've seen, while holding Control, we clicked on to create all the bones. All these are the joints which we can see are here inside a null group, from which we can take the joints out and delete the null group. All right? Now let's take a moment to rename these so we don't mistake one element for the other. Brilliant. Now the next step is to right click the first joint and inside character tags, we click on IK, and after that we drag the last joint, which would be this one here, into end. Then we navigate to Dynamics and check this box. This way, if we hit play, we automatically see that this already is affected by physics laws. It has a default gravity that makes it fall. We can modify these under forces here and setting gravity to 0. Okay, because right now we don't want to add any gravity to the scene. So now the bone would fall. All right. So the next step is to create a cube the same size this model. So we start with the cube. I'm going to hide the other model. As I was saying, this cube has to be the same size as the model. So we work from different views to make this kind of fitted box. Let's check this option here so we can see and create the necessary segments. Let's select the cube and we can divide the cube as we need. We can set it to 4 per 5 per 8. Okay, so 4 in the x-axis, 5 in the y-axis, and 8 in the z-axis, okay? Then if we go into basic, we can check the X-ray box here so we can see through the cube. All right. Now we make the cube editable, hitting C or clicking on this option here, all right? And now we select the cube and all the joints. We can use Shift for this. And now click on Character, Commands, and Bind. All right? As a result, we'll see an element and a skin were created. Now, if we click on the first joint and move it, as you can see here, we've linked the skeleton to the box. So if we move it, the box snakes. Okay. All right, now we'll create a null object from here and get this fish inside. Like this. And now we go to this option and click on Mesh, which will drag into the null object, which is the real fish. Okay. So select Mesh. And under Object, we have to load the cube in cages. So we just drag and drop cube here. Okay. Now we hit Initialize. And now we have linked the cube to the model. So if we now move the skeleton, the fish will move. We can hide the cube with this option here. Perfect. Now select the first joint and look how we now can move the fish like jelly, like it had a skeleton inside. Now we'll make another null object to put all the joints inside. Okay, so the bones we created, we put them inside the null object. And after that, we right-click on the null and on Cinema 4D tags, click on Vibrates. This is in order to animate automatically this movement. Because if we don't do that, we would have to do it manually. All right, the next step is inside Vibrate, and that's enabling regular pulse and enable rotation, okay? So we select the first joint to place the axis here so we can see it better. And then inside the Vibrate tag, we check regular pulse and enable rotation, all right? Now if we hit play, we can see the animation on this model. Obviously, what we have to do now is to tweak the parameters so the animation feels more natural. Okay, so how can we do this? Well, first of all, we're going to increase the frames to 300. Okay? And then inside the vibrate tag, we can tamper with the amplitude and the frequency. For example, if we increase the amplitude, what we do is increase the movement from side to side of the character. So we rather decrease it. Take a look. For example, we can leave it at 20. And the frequency is how often the character does the movement. So we can decrease it manually little by little so we can check the frequency we're looking for in the animation. We keep going and we see how the movement slows down. We should lower it a bit more. Okay, so for example, we could set it to 1 or 1.2. Okay. Another of the parameters we can play with to adjust the movement is inside the IK tag. Strength, which we can also decrease or increase. For example, we can increase it so the strength of the joint is stronger. Or we can decrease it so it's a bit more weak. All right? Take a look. Let's decrease the amplitude. Okay. And as you can see, if we leave it at 15 and 1.3 approximately, we get a very good animation of this character. Okay, so now what we have to do is to link a spline to the model so this animation is not only static, because we see the fish itself is moving, but it doesn't move in space. It just stays on its place. So this is what we will work on the next video. We will work with the other model we have, which is right here. And we'll do exactly the same so we get a deeper understanding and explain how to link a spline to a model so these fish can move around the scene. Okay, so we'll leave it here and I'll see you in the next video. See ya!